looking for the Battle of Sideling Hill, which is, the evidence is going to amount to some lead clusters, and maybe some buttons, items of personal adornment, buckles. That's elusive stuff that people have been looking for decades now, chasing the artifacts around that would be the battlefield resources here. Aren't trenches or anything that was prepared. It's just the scatter of artifacts. So getting some of those mapped is crucial to proving it or finding the hard evidence that we're in the right spot. You know, a lot of us are pretty experienced with metal detectors, and if we can get a couple hits, we might want to move to other areas, right? And then see if we can kind of track this and make sense of it.
The battle took place here, we believe, early April, and it originated over at Fort McCord over in Franklin County near Edenville, and approximately 50 Delawares took over the fort, captured the fort, killed numerous people, captured women and children, and they then were heading back to what's believed to be Kittanning. And on the way back, they crossed several mountains, Blue Mountain, I believe, Kittanning Mountain, came around the backside of Burnt Cabins, the village of Burnt Cabins, and as they neared Fort Littleton, they didn't want to go near the fort because they knew there was militia and troops there, colonial troops. So they went behind the fort at a gap, not far from here, just south of where we're standing, and they crossed, and it took approximately, I guess, a day for the local militia in Shippensburg to gather enough men. They pursued the Delawares and the captives across the mountains, and they ambushed them, supposedly somewhere in this location, just over, which we believe is somewhere right in here, where the Indians were encamped at. There was approximately 50 of them with the captives.
Could have taken place on any one of these fields and kind of pieces of terrain surrounding the confluence of Sideling Hill Creek and the Racetown branch of the Juniata. So the historic account goes that the posse, the pursuers from Fort Littleton, plus the folks from back at McCord, caught up to one of the parties, one of the raiding parties with the prisoners, and waited until morning, must have seen their fires, waited till morning to attack them. And initially had surprised the Native American group to the point of them having abandoned their position and the captives for long enough for some of them to be freed. And it was looking pretty good for the rescue until the other group of Native Americans, the other war party, so they were kind of split in half, roving around to do damage. They were close enough that they helped. They came back to assist the initial party, and which allowed them to reclaim prisoners and keep taking them to Kittanning, and also kill somewhere in like 15, 16, 17 of the men who were pursuing, in addition to some captives getting killed at this point too. Once they dug into the high ground and were trying to hold out as long as they could, they said they expended all their ammunition. So if everybody had up to 20 rounds, shot all their lead at the attackers at several positions, from several positions, and then made their way back to Fort Littleton. So that story then echoed all the way through the colonies, being published as kind of the result of Braddock's defeat, and the floodgates had been opened for Delaware war parties to just run rampant, especially in this part of Pennsylvania and down into Virginia.